Keeping my focus, I recall that for nearly 4 centuries, the history of St. Kitts and Nevis was all about sugar. It was virtually the sole industry. It was the dominant activity. It formed the axis that determined the political construct of the Federation and the social texture of its people. I think if this administration has achieved nothing else, what it has done in managing to transform a monoculture economy to a modern competitive one without social upheaval, no major dislocation or industrial trauma, to have done so in a smooth, seamless manner is truly miraculous and deserves the admiration of the entire world. And I can hear one of the founding fathers of St. Kitts, who was among my guiding lights when I entered politics many years ago, Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw. I can see him beaming with pride and saying to Denzel, "This is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased." History will record that without fuss and fanfare, something has been done which is truly revolutionary. The lands of St. Kitts are no longer owned by the plantations. Land has been put in the hands of the people, and particularly former sugar workers have been given affordable housing options. In the diversification of your economy, you have identified tourism as the leading star. And one only has to look on where we are gathered in this very property, in this very hotel, which can compete successfully with any other property anywhere in the world. Despite the recession in global travel, major projects are moving forward. There's a first-rate ship port, 500,000 cruise ship passengers annually. You have provided the infrastructure. You have provided the services. I don't want to be too heavy with you tonight, and I don't want to trespass in any political arena. But I remembered an occasion very early in my political life when I went to a remote village in the hills of Clarendon to accompany one of the most formidable political speakers of the time, who was also a lawyer, the Honourable Vivian Blake, Queen's Counsel of Blessed Memory, and he really was an excellent speaker. And he went and he spoke, but despite the most forceful presentation, it was clear that the crowd was not with him. And one man in the front kept on shouting, "Foolishness, rubbish, nonsense." And he got very irritated, Mr. Blake, but he pressed on. And when he was finished and we were on our way down, there was a man that had accompanied us from the neighboring district. He said, "Mr. Blake, don't worry about that half-idiot. Him is a fool. Him don't have no opinion of his own. Him only repeat what everybody else has said." I had great difficulty in persuading Mr. Blake not to open his car and let the passenger out in the middle of the road. One of my favorites when I joined what was then Carifta as a trade minister was your own Paul Southwell. Apart from everything else, he knew Shakespeare from cover to cover. And I recall one occasion when we were discussing the complexities of the common external tariff and the harmonization of fiscal incentives. And there was some young economist that had recently graduated with a first-class degree from the university, and was kept on interrupting and saying what could work and what couldn't work. And after Paul Southwell had listened to him for a time, he quoted from Twelfth Night. He said, "You are not yet old enough for a man, nor young enough for a boy. As a squash is before it is a peas cod, or a codling when 'tis almost an apple. 'Tis with you in standing water, somewhat between boy and man. You are very well favored, and you speak very shrewishly, but you must wait until your mother's milk is fully out of your mouth." Needless to say, the economist made not one contribution to the rest of our discussion. I'm very pleased that members of the diaspora are here. And perhaps you, even more than those who live here, who see what is going on from day to day, can attest as to the progress each time you visit your homeland. And I would simply say to you, your role is not confined to sending home remittances. You have skills, and you can use them, and you must contribute wherever you are to helping to build the land of your birth.